For a solid 2 years, I was paying for their gym memberships. For 2 long years, I naively believed my wife and her best friend were diligently working on their abs and enjoying green smoothies post workout. Then, like a bolt out of the blue, I opened Instagram. One accidental tap on the screen, and my world, which seemed so steadfast, crumbled in an instant like a house of cards. My name is Mark. I'm 35 years old and I work in cybersecurity. I'm not a superhero, not a gym rat, and certainly not a heartthrob. I'm an average guy who loves strong coffee, peace and quiet, and his family. Or at least that's what I thought, until I realized it was all just a skillfully crafted illusion. My wife's name is Jessica. I used to affectionately call her Sunshine. She worked as a kindergarten teacher, quiet, kind, and endlessly patient. After our daughter Isabella was born, she took a break from work and then decided she needed to get back in shape. I fully supported her in this endeavor. Of course, I paid for a premium gym membership, not only for her but also for her best friend Rachel. They were inseparable, like two peas in a pod. It's more fun together, Jessica would say, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. And I would smile back, genuinely happy that she had someone to lean on in tough times. Rachel was at our house almost every day. She helped with Isabella, brought wine, shared the latest news with Jessica, and laughed infectiously with her unique, wild laughter. Sometimes they would dash out of the house together, hastily saying, "Just a quick workout, we'll be back soon." They carried yoga mats and water bottles, and I stayed home with the kid. And I believed them. Who wouldn't? At first, everything seemed just perfect. Jessica was literally glowing with happiness. I bought her new workout clothes, stylish sneakers, and even a smartwatch. She started spending more and more time in the locker room and then grabbing smoothies with Rachel after the workout. Sometimes I even drove them to the gym. I would wait in the car, watching them laugh and happily walk inside. But then the first warning signs appeared. The scent, not sweat or soap, but perfume, the very one she wore when we first started dating. "A gift from Rachel," she said. "I want to feel feminine, even at the gym." There was a playful note in her voice, as if she were sharing a secret that made going to the gym something more than just a workout. Okay. Then came the makeup, the full package, mascara, lipstick. It seemed she was preparing not for exercise, but for walking the red carpet. "It makes me feel good when I see myself in the mirror," she giggled. Her eyes sparkled as if she really believed what she was saying. I nodded. I believed her. But over time, small cracks began to appear. Imperceptible at first, they gradually widened, undermining the foundation of our trust. One day I came home early and saw the yoga mats covered in dust in the corner, clearly untouched. "Aren't you using these anymore?" I asked, trying to hide the surprise in my voice. "We switched to the machines. They have mats at the gym," she replied smoothly. Her gaze was even and calm, as if she had prepared this answer in advance. And then the phone call. I accidentally overheard Rachel laughing on the phone. "He doesn't suspect a thing. It's so funny." When I walked into the kitchen, she instantly changed the subject. Her face expressed innocence, as if she had just been discussing the weather forecast. "Mark, we were just saying how lucky Jessica is to have you." And again, I swallowed it, ignored the alarm bells that were screaming in my chest. Intimacy waned. Jessica said she was too tired, that the workouts exhausted her, that something wasn't right inside. Her words sounded like excuses, but I stubbornly refused to hear the truth. And I, the idiot, continued to believe. I clung to her every phrase as if to a lifeline. I kept paying for the gym, renewed her plan, even upgraded it for our anniversary. "Now you have 2 sessions a week with a personal trainer," I said, proud. I thought I was doing something nice for her, not realizing I was digging my own grave. "You're the best," she whispered, kissing me. There was no sincerity in her voice, only cold calculation. God, what a fool I was. The turning point came on a random day. I was looking for gym discounts online to give to a friend, stumbled upon their Instagram, started scrolling. Trainers, classes, photos full of energy and health. And then I saw it, a photo, a man, a shirt stretched over a muscular chest, shorts, a smug grin worth 1 million likes. Tyler, a personal trainer, women's classes. He seemed familiar. I remembered seeing him once fleetingly in Rachel's stories. I didn't give it much thought then. It seemed like an innocent coincidence, a chance encounter. So I took the plunge. I opened Rachel's profile, and there it was, a mere selfie, Tyler hugging her waist. The caption read, "My favorite kind of cardio T sessions motivation." Jessica had liked the post. Everything inside me constricted, chest, throat, stomach, as if someone had cut off the oxygen. The air became thick and still as if before a storm. That night I didn't say a word. For 3 days I wandered around my own house like a ghost. Jessica laughed on the phone, dressed for a workout, returned smelling of roses and lies. The scent of her perfume became the smell of betrayal to me. Then I started digging deeper. Her smartwatch, the very one I gave her, synchronized with our shared cloud. Her workouts never lasted longer than 15 minutes. After that, location tags from an apartment complex on the other side of town. Every time. Tyler's address. I found it listed in his profile. Private fitness studio, second floor, block B. Emails, Uber receipts, calendar entries. Rachel at 10 a.m., Jessica at 11 a.m. every Wednesday. Their so-called ladies' workout day. It turned out to be their rendezvous day. It all added up. I felt sick. I sat in the kitchen while Isabella slept peacefully nearby. And for the first time, I admitted it to myself. They weren't just lying, they were using me. I was paying for their affair. I confronted Rachel first. Saw her at the grocery store. "Hi," I said. She dropped her water bottle. "Mark, you scared me," she exclaimed. "I only have one question. How long have you been seeing Tyler?" She froze. 6 months, she whispered. "And Jessica?" Silence. "Rachel, she was before me. She said it was over. She called it a mistake." "A mistake?" I asked sarcastically. "We didn't want to hurt you, I swear," she assured me. I laughed. "What were you trying to do then? Have fun at my expense?" She cried. I left. That fateful night, I decided to have an open conversation with Jessica. "Tell me about Tyler," I said, trying to remain calm, although a hurricane was raging inside. Suddenly, as if struck by lightning, she dropped a plate, which shattered into pieces with a deafening crash. "You've been following me?" There was genuine astonishment and resentment in her voice. "No," I replied. "I was just trying to save myself from the madness that was slowly but surely consuming me." "Mark, please," she pleaded, but I was adamant. "Talk," I snapped, no longer wanting to hear excuses. Tears streamed down her cheeks, sincere, feigned. I could no longer distinguish truth from lies in this endless maze of deception. "It was before Rachel," she began her story. "I was the first. After Isabella, I felt empty, like I was dead inside, and he made me feel alive." After these words, a heavy, oppressive silence hung in the air. "You introduced him to Rachel, too?" I managed to squeeze out the question, fearing to hear confirmation of my worst fears. "No," she whispered. I didn't know how to stop it. It all went too far, got out of control." I stared at her, trying to figure out what was hidden behind her words. No lies, no denial, only indifference and resignation. She just gave up, admitting her defeat. Without saying a word, I packed a bag. "I'm leaving for a few days. Don't call me." I tossed over my shoulder, heading for the door. "What about Isabella?" she asked with hope in her voice. "I'll see her," I replied, "but you and Rachel, you're no longer in my life." I went to my brother's house, sat down on his old, worn couch and cried. Real tears without shame or embarrassment. He didn't ask questions, didn't pry into my soul, just silently poured me a drink. "You'll get stronger," he said, patting me on the shoulder. "Even if it seems impossible to you now," he added, seeing my despair. I naively thought the pain would subside in a week, then in a month, and then maybe when I filed for divorce. But it didn't happen. The pain didn't go away. It just dried up like a footprint in the sand left by the tide. And you just learned to live with it, continuing to move forward no matter what. The first days at my brother's house flew by in a fog. I hardly spoke, just slept and stared at the ceiling, trying to find answers to the questions that tormented me. Isabella video called me. I smiled, told her funny stories, pretended everything was okay. Jessica kept bombarding me with messages. "Mark, please." I messed everything up, but we were a family. Rachel means nothing to me. I'll break up with her. I didn't answer. And then silence. No more tears, no more messages, no more pleas, only emptiness ringing in my ears. I moved into a small apartment, bright with cheap furniture, with no hint of the past. The divorce was finalized surprisingly quickly. We divided the property, and I insisted on joint custody. Isabella stayed with Jessica, but 3 times a week I took my daughter to my place. And every time looking into her clear, sky-like eyes, I reminded myself, this is why I didn't break. This is what kept me from falling into the abyss of despair. Rachel seemed to vanish into thin air, deleted all her social media profiles. The phone is disconnected, as if it never existed. I didn't even try to look for her. Intuition told me it was useless. It's impossible to build a bright future on the rotten foundation of the past, where everything inside is saturated with lies and betrayal. Jessica, as if nothing had happened, tried to start a friendship. She naively suggested we should stay close for Isabella's sake. I was polite but cold as a winter wind. She understood perfectly well. There was no way back. The bridges were burned irrevocably. Over time, I began to rebuild myself brick by brick, completely changed my wardrobe, updating my style. I signed up for a new gym, certainly not the old one, a completely different place. No Tyler, no personal training. Only sweat, iron, and a sea of anger that needed to be unleashed. My new trainer, Dave, taciturn, straightforward. He never asked unnecessary questions, just gave clear, shot like commands. 5 sets, no groaning, straighten your back, your lower back is tight. I listened without question, and each repetition of the exercise was like a blow to the face of the past. Along 6 months passed. I changed, and not only externally, I became less trusting of people, but I began to believe in myself more. And laughter returned to me again. One day, almost with surprise, hearing my own words, I said to Jessica, "Thank you for waking me up from this nightmare, from this insane fantasy." She just nodded silently, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something new in her eyes, not guilt, but respect. And then it happened. I went into a sports nutrition store, loud music, lively chatter, a long line. And suddenly I heard a familiar voice. "Hey, you're Mark, right?" I turned around sharply. Tyler, a protein shake in his hand, a baseball cap on his head, dark glasses on his eyes. He didn't recognize me right away, but I recognized him instantly. He forced a smile, strained and unnatural. "Good to see you. How are you?" I stared at him. Perfect teeth, flawless skin, a saccharine smirk, and then it washed over me, nothing. No rage seething in my veins, no corrosive pain tearing at my soul. Only a strange, enveloping calm, permeated with bitter irony, like a quiet whisper of fate. "Everything's fine," I said, trying to maintain an impassive tone. "Glad to hear it, honestly," he replied. But there were notes of doubt and guilt in his voice. "And you?" I tilted my head, looking at him with undisguised curiosity. "Still training married women, tempting them with forbidden fruit?" He lowered his eyes, as if trying to avoid my gaze, and in his silence I read an admission. "Some of these situations got out of control," he mumbled, as if making excuses. "Situations?" I smiled bitterly, and the laughter sounded like a cracked bell. "You mean my life, Tyler. You ruined my life." He opened his mouth, as if about to explain something, justify himself, or beg for forgiveness. But I turned away and without saying a word left, leaving him standing there in bewilderment. Now my life flows quieter and calmer like a river smoothly carrying its waters to the sea. I no longer go with the flow. Like a puppet pulled by someone else's strings, every action of mine is thought out and weighed. Every morning, waking up with the first rays of the sun, I make coffee and ask myself the same question. Are you living for yourself, or are you letting someone else define your destiny again? And every time I choose myself, I choose my path, no matter how thorny it may be. Isabella grew up, turning into a beautiful young woman. Once, just recently, she looked at me with her clear eyes and said, "Dad, you're strong now." "I've always been strong." I smiled, remembering all the difficulties I had to overcome. "No, before you were just good, and now you're also strong." The moral of the story is, I paid for their gym, believing in the power of female friendship and the benefits of post-workout protein shakes. Instead, I got betrayal, a double blow that struck me without warning or mercy. But this betrayal taught me to be real, taught me to look truth in the eye. Not good, not convenient, but honest, at least honest with myself. Now I only pay for what makes me stronger, what helps me grow and develop. And not for people who hide their lies behind yoga mats and protein shakes, trying to appear better than they really are.